Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch Harlan, and welcome to the Truth Talks podcast. My guest today is Rob Thomson. Rob, how are you?
I'm awesome today. Couldn't be better. I'd have to be a twin.
Yeah, I love it. I'm gonna open this up with how I met you. I got your name from a friend of mine. He said, "Hey, you need to give this guy a call," because we were talking about the executive series, some of the big property stuff, and we talked a little bit about what I had going on and what we were looking for. And then all of a sudden, the conversation changed, and it went to kind of a conversation about your life. And I said, to hell with what it is that we started this conversation out for. I need to get this story on my podcast called Truth Talks. So I want to kind of start out with a little bit of the interesting way that conversation happens. We started talking about that project. You started opening up the conversation about how you got to where you were, and it motivated me so much that I want you to share that story with the world if you're willing.
I'm happy to.
So tell me, I always love the first thing I want to throw out there. Rob, are you the lucky one?
No. The lucky one is a phrase used by people that don't want to do what the hardworking are willing to do. They're willing to do what the unlucky are not willing to do.
And that's exactly how you did that. So I want you to start with how you built your wealth.
When I was a kid, we grew up, and when we moved to Florida, my father was a Baptist minister. Well, they didn't have anything. When I say they didn't have anything, we lived in a 20-foot, um, a 20-foot migrant worker shack in Delray Beach. It didn't need a driveway because there was no car. Running water was outside. So when I say we didn't have anything, there was no air conditioning. My dad always told the story of when they put the first phone in. The lady was asking where they wanted it and what color. He said, "I don't care what color it is or where you put it. I can stand in the middle of my house and reach it from anywhere." And so we didn't grow up as with a silver spoon. But what what did happen was we moved here, and later on, my mother got into real estate, and I got out of school in the eighth grade. I was not a great student by any measure, um, dyslexic and ADD, and couldn't pay attention. And so I got into car detailing. It was an easy move, and because my mom was in real estate, I knew realtors, so I did a lot of real estate people's cars for, I don't know, 8 years. And we had the car detailing. I ended up with two stores, and got rid of those and got into real estate. Um, and from there, got into a multitude of other businesses.
I remember you telling me in a previous conversation, you were like, I'm detailing these cars and I'm looking at these people thinking, man, they're way more successful. I'm going to do what they're going to do.
I I'd watch these people come in, and that it you watch them and you're thinking, okay, they don't seem to be that much smarter than me, and they're driving this big Mercedes or Cadillac, and I'm the dumb guy washing it for them. And if these people can do it, and you could tell they get up late and start late, finish early, and go to happy hour and whatnot, I'm like, I can outwork these people like there's no tomorrow. If they can drive a Mercedes from doing this, I'll drive a Rolls. And it just one thing turned into another. I got a real estate license, had to take the test 5 times, but you know, crashed and burned four and passed it on the fifth, and got into real estate. And because I really don't read well, I did rentals for a year. In Florida, only lawyers can do the paperwork. I thought this is a slam dunk. I'll just do the rentals. Well, when I did one sale, I thought them lawyers can do the sales too. I'm not going to keep doing these rentals. The checks aren't big enough. And so it one thing led to another, and here we are.
So you went from real estate though, but then there was this kind of this progression into the mortgage and so on and so forth. Give it that progression of the businesses that then followed from that.
Had a young mortgage guy in his low 20s doing mortgages for me, and his boss did some things with clients that we didn't care for. And so I said, go get a job somewhere else, and I will give you my mortgages. Well, he said, let me start one up with you, and I'll service your agents, and we'll just do it with you. Well, we ended up opening multiple mortgage places. And then we opened up insurance together. We got an insurance guy. Then same guy, Bud, and I decided, well, we'll do the title business together. And so we did that. And then I did construction with my brother, and I did insurance, opened the restaurant with my oldest brother, my best friend from grade school, Scotty Henley. We opened up a boat factory, and we built a boat called Bahama Boat Works. We manufacture those in West Palm. And then a guy that was my boat captain, such a good young guy, he was like my oldest son. I made a really dumb move, and I opened up yacht brokerage business with him and put my fishing into the nowhere land. He's great at yacht brokers. Never wanted to be a yacht broker, but he's a great one now, and he's done a phenomenal job. Very proud of him. But so we have yacht brokerage and Waterfront yacht management, and just bought a painting company and getting ready to buy an air conditioning company.
So how does a guy go from detailing cars to obviously this uber wealthy, successful multitude of businesses? Did you parlay your money, or was it more about the network of people you knew and you got in with the right people?
Never borrowed any money. Never had any credit, so never borrowed any money. Everything we've ever done, if we couldn't buy it, we didn't. We built it. So when we started the real estate company, my mom was a realtor, and she at that time had offices before, was working from home. And so we rented a little space from an appraiser that was 16 by 20, and shared a copier and a fax. If you got a fax from me, it said Northco Appraising, but I couldn't afford a fax. I bought my first uh, phone system from Radio Shack on a diner's card. I don't know if they even have those anymore, but that was so cool. I'm like, I want to be on this thing one day, and the other light's going to light up. It had two lines. We were sophisticated, but we grew the real estate business by specializing in waterfront, and people loved that. They loved the fact that we only did one thing at that time, and so we grew that business, and the other businesses grew as a result of that one growing, and Waterfront grew into nearly a 100 agent company, doing $1 billion a year in business, and it's just been a fun ride. We've had some phenomenally good people, and one of the big keys to our success, I think, is hiring people smarter than me.
You know, Sam Walton said that in his book. He says, you hire people smarter than yourself, you always be successful.
It
And, and,
works.
and this is why I love talking to guys like you. And again, why I dropped the conversation I originally wanted to talk to you about, because you just intrigued the living hell out of me. And, you know, we talked about hard work. And I'd mentioned to you earlier today that I had watched that thing with Elon Musk. And, you know, the guy's working 70, 80, 90 hours a week, 100 hours a week. Is that what you had to go through?
When I got into the business when I was younger, I worked. I was broke, so the air conditioning was cool here. So I went to work a lot to escape the heat. But there were many years I worked 5 o'clock in the morning till come home at dinner at 6 or 7, and then work more hours again at night. An 80 to 100 hour week was never a stranger. Um, I feel like I'm on retirement or vacation now, working. I'd be lying if I said I only work 60. But I do need to. I do take some time to slow down more. I go out and live on my boat, anchored out on the weekends, and things like that. But I've got a computer and an iPad and stuff. I end up doing some work, but at least I'm doing it anchored out.
Well, and there's no doubt that, you know, it takes that drive and so on and so forth. But I think that was part of the conversation that we had that really hit me hard, because I know some guys that they get more than enough money, more money than they can spend, but they can't quite get away from it. And you and I had this discussion, and you said something to me that really struck me hard. I mean, really hard. You said, I wonder why I'm working to make all this money I can't spend. What do you mean by that?
You get to a point where you have more than you're going to spend before you die, and you start saying to yourself, "What am I chasing here, or what am I running from? What is it that's important in life?" And you can only buy so many Ferraris and so many boats. And I got 5 boats and a whole mess of cars. Ferrari and Rolls Royce I don't drive. I drive a pickup truck because I can fit my dogs in the back. It's set up like a dog limo. But at some point, you get over. yourself, you get to the point where that's not what you want anymore. Your big joy comes out of, doing things for charity, for people in need and people that need help, and people that are under, you know, the forgotten people and the people that are underappreciated. We built a gym for the Tequesta Police Department recently, and if you saw their gym, it looked like something out of a third world prison. And those Tequesta Fire Department and the police department, those are guys that are risking their neck to protect us and take care of all kinds of different public services. Yet there's no funding for that, and so you can see how happy and how appreciative they are to get that done. And I thought, well, Juneau Police, they have another little town here. I wonder what theirs is like. So I met with their police chief, and damn if it's not the same thing. So we're building another one for them right now. And we just try to do a lot of different things that are a much better gift to yourself than a lot of the crap I've bought my whole life.
Was there a moment in your world where you were like, okay, I've accumulated enough, now I'm ready to start sharing it back, giving it back? Tell me about that transition.
We've always shared heavily, like we do a bicycle giveaway, give away hundreds of bicycles at Christmas. And we've done that we just celebrated our 20th year anniversary of doing that. So we've always done it. The difference whether, it was a smart financial decision back then to be doing it or not, we did it when we couldn't afford it. But, so we've always been givers, but you get to the point, I'm 59, when you're in your 50s where you're thinking about what's important and what brings true joy to you. That car out in the garage, you drive it for 20 minutes, you feel all important and happy, but that fades pretty quickly.
Talk a little bit about the charity that you do for the animals and so on and so forth that you set up.
I'm the vice president of the largest non-kill cage-free dog shelter. I don't know if it's the world, but definitely the country. We have 800 dogs right now, and we save thousands per year in that range of 4,000 to 5,000 dogs a year. And it's just a really, really, really cool place built by a lady named Lori Simmons, who's the founder, president, dog idol. She's a phenomenal lady with unbelievable drive. She makes me look like I'm asleep. She makes me look like the lucky one. She's an amazing lady. But the shelter, we brought dogs in off the meat trucks from China. I just got a new puppy from there. The mother was on a meat truck headed for the factory, and Lori bought it and brought all the dogs home, and it had puppies, and I bought one of them at our auction. But we do a lot of charity events every year, and our goal is to, save dogs and help dogs. We pick up dogs off the sheriff's department, brings them to us. We're doing 30 to 40 surgeries a day out there, 2 veterinarians. We have a veterinary, we have a training center for training dogs to help vets with PTSD and stuff, war veterans. And we're building a new facility right now to board the dogs of servicemen and women who go away that normally their dog would go to the pound, either get put down or be readopted, if they didn't have family. And so we're building a facility to board the dogs free of charge for all our service people.
Just an amazing, amazing service. We also talked about a little story that 20 years ago when you were giving away the bike. Tell us about that mom and daughter story.
20 years ago, we started, my daughter, I was reading an article about a minister that had two $25 gift certificates to give to a woman with 4 kids. She had a budget of $12.50 per child. How happy she was. And I was telling my children, look, these kids are getting $12.50 worth of Christmas. You should think about how grateful you should be, the gratitude you should have for your life, an attitude of gratitude. And it's really important. And my one daughter, Rachel, said to me, let's go buy them bikes. And so I called the minister. I saw his name there, called 411 for New Macedonia Baptist Church. And I called the minister, and he, like all good ministers would do, started telling me about the other kids in the church. I said, well, how many kids are in the church? And he says, 90. I said, how many of them are in bad shape where they wouldn't have a bicycle or whatever? He said, 60. And she's like, let's go buy them all bikes. So we rented a rider truck, and we went to get the bikes. And I thought, I can't make 60 happy and 30 going like everybody else got a new bike. So we bought like 110 bikes, so we'd have extra different sizes and stuff for these 90 kids. And then on Christmas Day, I see the news 275 kids showed up to this church because it had gotten all over town that this was happening. I thought, I can't make 100 of them happy and 170 of them cry. So we got more rider trucks and we went out and bought more bicycles. And we bought so many bicycles that the stores were out. We had to buy them in boxes. My brother Scott's carpenters were putting them together in an assembly line in Riviera Beach to give them away to these children in need. And that was kind of the birth of, at the time we called it Charities for Children. And we've done a lot of different things with it, inspired by my kids, but it's been a long, fun ride. This year was much more challenging because to get bikes, we had to buy them early and warehouse them and all kinds of stuff in order to make it happen because you don't know you'll get them at Christmas. Can't promise and not deliver when it comes to kids. But um, we've done a lot of different things. We bought recently the school bus driver came to me and said she drove for the special needs kids and they had an old rusty falling apart bus. And when they showed it to me, I said, bring it over and let me see it. She wasn't lying. You could look from the inside and look through the floor to see it. And so that the most challenged kids were riding the worst transportation. Here's kids in 130 degrees that are already challenged. Some of them in wheelchairs, no wheelchair lift. And, it was a nightmare full of mold and everything else. And all the other kids are riding those shiny big buses because it didn't work in the program. So we bought them had a custom built big Bluebird school bus with a wheelchair, elevator lift, air conditioning, all that stuff.
Yeah, God bless you when you do stuff like that. I mean, that's when I always believe that you're a good steward of the money, you continue to get the money. And that's one of the parts that I loved about your story. The girl who got her first bike was 20, and then her daughter got one. You remember that conversation that we had?
Yeah, she was a little girl I gave a bike to 20 years ago. And this year at Christmas, I met her again and she was there with her little girl.
And I ask you, how did that make you feel when you gave her little girl the bike? And I thought your answer was intriguing, and I want to talk about that for a second.
Good and horrible. Great that her little girl was getting a bike. Horrible that she had never gotten out of the system in 20 years. She was still in the same position that was when I handed her a bike as a kid.
So, from a guy that had nothing and detailed cars, let's say you or she got the opportunity to come to your office and sit down with you for a half an hour. How would you help her get out of that rut? What would you say? What would be the points you would hit?
In we live in two different worlds, and in our world, because I had people around me succeeding, and you get to be part of that. It's so much. And I don't want to say we're the lucky ones, but we are. We're so much luckier in that way that her whole world, there's nobody around her to learn from and get a leg up from and stuff. And that's a real challenging topic. How do you get them out of that world? It makes you feel really blessed to have been in a place where you had the ability to get out. That's a challenging one.
It is, and I think is the answer. You just got to go out work them. Like I loved when you just said, "Hey, look, I saw these guys. They're going to happy hour. They're starting late, getting done early. I know I can go out work them." Is it? I know sometimes it's a simplistic view, but I kind of feel like that is really the answer.
The answer is outwork them. For agents that come work for us and people that I try to help, I go, look, nobody's coming. Get that out of your head. There is no one coming. There's no one that's going to save you. And the only person you got to compete with is the man in the mirror. If you'll look at that man in the mirror, you got to outwork him. Your problem is so far, you haven't done that. You're continuing to be the same as him. You got to outwork that guy in the mirror at such a huge level. You got to ignore the pain and forget all about that. I want to go on vacation and all that lie you've been told about being well-rounded. How confusing is that for our young people today? Let's just give them all trophies and tell them they ought to be well-rounded. No, work yourself into the ground until your hands bleed. All this, that's a load of crap they've been teaching these kids and expect them to survive it. You got to outwork yourself and everyone else around you.
I got to ask you a real personal question here because I think I felt a really big connection with you because I kind of feel like I'm a shadow guy of you. I like to work and I like to work hard and I do challenge that guy in the mirror all the time. And It has come as a price for me a little bit. Balance has been very difficult for me.
You've earned
Uh,
that.
yeah, and so I want to ask you the question because I got you here, man. I'd like to keep you here for 12 hours, but I got this question for you. For you grinding it and burning it to where you're at now, was it worth it?
I was able to do a lot of things for my family, a lot of things for a lot of people. I've created a lot of jobs for people that those people mean a lot to me. And I've had huge offers, people unsolicited offers from my company and for the main company, Waterfront. And I would never be willing to sell it for what they would do to it, due to the people. They would never, ever pay them what we pay them and keep them the way we do it. They change everything up, mess up their lives. And, it's been a great experience in how you can help a lot of people. And I can look at all kinds of people around me that have done really well, that have really nice things that if it weren't for, all that company, the hard work and everything else, we wouldn't have been able to achieve that together. And, it's not a me thing, it's a we thing. We've all done it and built it together, and you can't let go of it because of that. But with that said, I told you the story about me in my backyard. Somebody very special to me said, come lay in this lounge chair in the backyard in a Chase lounge. And I'm like, I'm going to bed. No, just come here for a minute and lay in this thing. So she's real pretty. So I went and laid in the chair as I was told. Look at the clouds. Watch the clouds go over the moon. Listen to that waterfall over there. You hear those palm trees? A few minutes I was asleep. And she said to me, when's the last time you laid down in a lounge chair in your backyard? The truth of it, I lived in that house almost 20 years, never sat on one, let alone laid it. And it was a very important moment in my life. I'm like, man, I got it. She's like, paradise is right here in your backyard. And so since then, I have taken it seriously to be more well-rounded. I know I've accepted I've earned it. And well-rounded is for those that earn it. I paid my dues, and it's time to enjoy it more, spend more time with my kids, my grandkids, and try to be more well-rounded.
What do you say to those people that say, man, you're working super hard in the years of your life that you should be really out just enjoying things. But some of the greatest years of your life, the healthiest, the best years, you were grinding it out. Would you recommend that to everybody?
Uh, you know, if taking care of their family and all those around them is important to them, it's the only way. I mean, I am there where my kids and my grandkids will be fine. Um, I'm not doing it for the money at this point. There's a lot of young people that I help, that I coach to learn how to find their way at doing what they're thinking. And I got to tell you, that means a lot to me. We have young agents that come work for us and stuff. I get so much more out of helping a young agent grow, and or a person that's new to the business that's not young. Either way, helping them grow and learn to do the different technologies and strategies and everything that help them grow at a whole different rate so they can get there faster. Totally enjoy that and help the different people in the different businesses that we're with. When they say you're working hard, they're not enjoying what they're doing, because it's
Yeah.
not work. It's a big chess game. I don't go to work and leave here stressed and go, oh, that was a bad day at work. It was a great day here. This is my daytime family. The work that we do and everything else we do, it's just like a huge chess game I love to play. If I needed the money, it would be work. It isn't work. It's a thing you do to be able to do the things you're passionate about. And the things I'm passionate about require I do work to create the funds to do all the different cool stuff we're able to do with the community.
We had talked a little bit earlier off camera. We talked about that 24 hours in your world with all the success where I don't think anybody who's living in a 20-foot house is necessarily a silver spoon, right? But where you are at today, let's talk about that 24 hours with some special people that just happen to be associated with you.
You look back at it, and somebody said it to me going, oh, you know, the life, a typical, one of my agents, Donald Letterman, said to me, oh, yeah, typical 24 hours in your world. And, last night, Donald Trump Jr. is over last night. We're on a boat to take his 14-year-old daughter out to dinner for daddy daughter dinner, which is really nice. He's a wonderful guy, my neighbor. And tonight, the owner of KOW Steaks, he was supposed to be coming over and making steaks for us tonight and having a great dinner tonight with him. He's a wonderful guy. But his wife delivered a baby this morning, so he said dinner is canceled. But we'll do it later. In the industry that I'm in, and you get to meet some absolutely wonderful people. It's really a amazing learning opportunity. And it's just you realize how blessed you are when you're looking at all these different people, and how interesting they are, and how much you've been able to learn from them. I mean, I never went to school, but I did. Uh, One of my neighbors just passed away, a guy named Mort Mazer, and Mort taught me so much. He was a builder and developer, and you learn from all these guys. It was like having your own board. You meet all these guys that are older than you, that are smarter than you, that have been through all the life experiences, and they're always giving you advice. And I've had some really wonderful coaching, free coaching from the smartest people on earth. And I've been very blessed in that area. I'll say I'm lucky there with those people.
Man, I tell you, Robert, this is it's just been a blessing for me to have gotten in contact with you. And I would kind of like to end this session here with one thing. I want you to think back about that kid in the 8th grade when you left school. What would you tell him?
He's crazy. Oh, today a kid quit school. I could never tell him to do it. Yeah, I would never advise kids to quit school today, but it was a means to the end. My mother was struggling at the time. I worked 3 jobs, and it made me feel great to contribute. Then even then, I went and worked, cleaned a movie theater from 6 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock in the morning. Then I went and worked construction, and did that till the afternoon. That night, I worked at a restaurant. That was my first year. We were working those 3 jobs, and that was 100-hour a week. And I was fresh out of the 8th grade. And after that, I started doing the car detailing. It just made a whole lot more sense, and a lot more money. But it was a great thing. But it's a tough thing for kids today when, in many worlds, if they don't have that high school diploma is going to be a problem for them. I'd tell them they're absolutely foolish to do it.
Yeah, right. Would you tell yourself though, job well done?
I'm very proud of what I've accomplished. Every once in a while, people foolishly make some kind of comment about, acting like I should have been in college and everything else. And I'm like, well, I got news for you. The IRS has given me an A. In most cases, I don't think you're getting the same grade from IRS, but that annoys me when people do talk about that stuff on occasion. They'll be like, IRS has given me an A. I think I'm doing okay.
Well, I know you are, and I love that. And again, part of Truth Talks and why I feel so blessed that you decided to come on our show is we always believe in people. I believe in story. I believe that Rob Thomson has just told the same story and the same wisdom as all the guys that helped you come along the way as well. And for you to sit here and take out time of your day, which I know you got a lot of important things to do, to help somebody out, to encourage somebody, to just share your success and really give us those keys to hard work and stuff. I don't think, man, maybe you do. You probably absolutely do, but it's invaluable to somebody that's going to be listening to this show today.
Yeah. If I had to give people one piece of advice, is to quit thinking somebody's going to come rescue them. Work your ass off. There is no end to the amount of work you can do. And if you want it, it's there for the taking, because there's always someone you can outwork.
And that's kind of all aspects of life. If your marriage is having a problem, look at you first. It could be you. If it's in every aspect of life. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on here on this show. Now, I do want to get this special lady on there. I did get a chance to talk to her. I know that she is incredibly important in the role of making you step back and enjoy that Chase Lounger. It's a special person that can do that and change somebody. But my friend, you have the heart the size of Florida. It's just amazing. And I thank you for coming on and sharing your wisdom with us.
Absolutely my pleasure. Anytime.
Rob, I love you, buddy. Have a great one, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Have a great day.
Thank you.